Next, let's meet the speakers, our experts. And as I mentioned, my name is Paul, and I'm a senior product manager here at Typeform. And today I'll be partnered with by my colleague Nico Grenier, who is a developer advocate at Typeform. Nico is an expert at organizing and running events, both internally and externally, and has found some super interesting use cases for Typeform over the years. He knows so much about Typeform, I can promise you. We will also be joined by Diana Kolesarova, who is an event marketing manager at Superside, where she leads the company's virtual events. Through webinars, virtual summits, roundtables, and other online gatherings, she collaborates with thought leaders to explore and tap topics in marketing and design with top global brands while building a community. And we will also hear from Mananda Burchard, who leads the customer advocacy program at Zapier, where she's focused on creating magical experiences for customers and spotlighting brilliant automators. Thanks to them for your time. We are very happy to have you here. About the agenda, what we will cover today. As you can see, we're going to cover a lot in this session, so we just like hitting the time limit. We will start with an introduction to the event management flywheel and explain why Typeform can play such a key part in driving it. Then we will delve into 4 different use cases for using Typeform to organize your event processes, namely registration, onboarding, awards, or any kind of participation form, and feedback. Along the way, we will give you examples of real-life use cases, including solutions from Typeform, Zapier, and Superside. Diana from Superside has kindly agreed to stick around for Q&A afterwards to help us answer your questions. So hopefully there's enough time for us to get to some of those. So let's get started with the intro and motivation. Like, why are we here? Why are we speaking about events? Well, as some of you may know, events are a great tool to engage with your audience, right? To achieve any goal that you may have, from the more business ones to get more sales, get new customers, better retain your current customers, to some of them which might be more aspirational, such as converting your current customers into actual advocates, right? Looking for that free word of mouth channel that is so great for any company, right? The issue, the challenge, right, is that creating these memorable events is difficult, right? And if we don't make them memorable, then they are not effective. And any of you that have been creating events, you may know, you may relate to this, but actually data, right? Actual market data points at this as being a key pain point for any marketer, any event organizer at any company, right? And one critical point to make an event memorable is to keep the audience engaged across all the stages, right? Similar to what we are doing here, right? Typeform is a multi-stage event, and we want to keep you engaged. We want to keep giving value to you throughout the whole experience, right? And to make this possible, personalization is usually a great way to do that, but personalization is difficult too, right? So, well, today we're speaking about problems, but we also want to provide you with solutions. And one solution that we believe that will serve you is actually, guess what? Typeform, right? So it should not come as a surprise that you can use Typeform for many things, and actually you can use Typeform to manage your event end to end, from the very beginning until the end. So let me introduce you to the 4 use cases that Typeform can help you with. I'm sure that there are more. Nico, for sure you have more in your mind. Later you can share. But if we look now at the figure on the right, this flywheel, right? It all starts with a registration, right? A sign up. Then it could be a nice idea to do onboarding of the attendees, right? Ask for more information, get to know them, understand what they are seeking, why they are signing up, right? This way you can actually personalize the content that you will be offering to them through the event. Then, at any point, before the event, during the event, and even after the event, you can ask for their participation, right? You can come up with something such as an award, some award, so that you ask for their participation, they have their voice heard, and this has been found to be quite effective. And after the event, last but not least, very important, feedback. obtaining actionable feedback. And this is critical to actually improve for the next time and obtain even more value over time. So feedback always super, super important. And Typeform here, right? Why Typeform and not any other form builder, where Typeform has this amazing, unique, premium respondent experience which gets better completion rates, meaning more signups. So you can have more attendees. And actually, you can increase the satisfaction, more satisfaction, because you can ask for more data without sacrificing the completion rate, right? Asking for one additional question with Typeform is less painful than with other form builders, right? So that's why Typeform has, among other things, a differential value. So having said this, let's jump into the first use case, which is the registration. Why use Typeform? As I was saying, you can improve the sign-up rates, right? Very important, right? For any event, it needs to be on brand. And Typeform is doing great here, right? You can create forms that feel part of your brand. And this makes you look professional, stand out from competitors, and generate this trust with the respondents so that they are willing not only to sign up, but to share some additional information with you. Then, as I was mentioning, you can ask for additional information to understand your audience at a smaller cost in terms of completion rate. And very important, right? In any form, the form does not live in isolation. It works inside a workflow, and we need to connect Typeform to those other tools that you are using, and that's also possible with Typeform. First case study, which is the Typeform registration, right? Actually, all of you in the audience have gone through it, right? So again, it allows people to sign up very quickly, right? With an on-brand experience. You can ask multiple questions at a time now if you're willing to do that, as we did. You can also ask for the preferences. We ask you what topics you are most interested in so that we could better curate the content of these sessions. And then we also send automatically each registrant to the Zoom webinar application, in this case via Zapier. Some highlight features that we want for you to know or make sure that you know. The first one, again, shouldn't be a surprise, which is this branding and design. You have the themes in your Create tab in the builder. For those of you who are in a larger company, just a reminder that you have the brand kit themes. If you are on a paid plan, brand kit themes, make sure to centralize your themes so that everyone is on brand, right? Then we connected to the webinar tools through Zapier. In this case, you also have the native integrations that happen from Typeform. But if you don't have the tool available, then you can always use automation tools such as Zapier for that. It's very easy to use. An amazing feature that I'm a big fan of is partial responses. And here is a trick that I hope that you appreciate, you like. We said before, well, you can get signups, right? For a signup to happen, you need at least one contact information piece. But we also want to know more about our audience, right? So we want to ask more questions. And we want to make sure not to lose a signup because we're asking more follow-up questions, right? So what's the right balance? I have a solution for you, which is you don't need to choose. You don't need to choose anymore if you have a partial submission. So the trick here is to ask for the contact details. You add the partial submit point. You make sure that you collect those contact details, and then you can ask for the additional questions that are in the end more of a nice to have, right? So now you don't need to choose between more information and the contact details. You can have both with partial responses. And last but not least, for those who were able to come to the keynote, we have data enrichment. And from today, it's not only B2B, business to business data enrichment, but we have B2C data enrichment, meaning that if you are in the right plan and you enable data enrichment, you will be able to collect information from your attendees, both on the company they are working on and about themselves, if we are able to fetch this information from our providers. And having said this, I pass the mic to Nico to speak about onboarding.
Yeah, so now that you have registered and get some people ready to attend your event, it's time to try to activate them before the time of the event. And for this, there are different ways of doing it. So what example that we have is from our friends at Zapier that built an agenda builder. The idea here is trying to get people to the right session during the event. So they get to set up expectation of what they're going to see. Yes, they're excited to attend your event because of the good brand you have and the good speakers you're bringing, but there's some sessions that might be a bit hidden in the agenda. With this agenda builder, you're helping them go attend the sessions that are relevant to them. We try to make this a personalized experience as well. If I'm a developer, I might not see the same session as my colleague that's a marketer. We might not be interested by the same topic. And with this, we all have a different experience at the same event. In the end, this is also an opportunity for you to share the relevant content and specific content to those different attendee types, I will say. So let's dive into what Zapier did for their online event called Zap Connect. That was just a month ago. What they did is a simple Typeform where you ask, where they ask which type of role you have, which type of experience you have with the automation world, and what are your expectations and what you're trying to find during that event. At the end, what it gives you is a session calendar of all the things you can attend. And then finally, to activate them, you want to encourage your customers to add this to their own calendar event. Like this, it's in their actual work schedule, which is great when you're running an online event. It's hard to remind people. It's like, oh, get out of work right now because you have an online event to attend. So if you want to build a similar experience, how would you do it? Let me show you a couple of ways of doing this inside Typeform. With this, we're going to use the outcome quiz. First, think about the different buckets of attendees or experience you want to offer into your event. So let's think about the marketer track, the developer, the people that are just new to, in this case, the automation world, or Typeform in your product, which type of experience you want to do there. You're going to pick, like you do in a personality quiz in the Cosmopolitan, like, oh, you have that many stars, you're more this person, that many triangles, you're more this person. But here's the same. It's like, oh, if you answer this to this question and this to the other question, then you fill into that bucket. Another way to personalize this experience is use information that you have already collected during the registration process through hidden field. So we know your name. What? We know your name. We know which type of ticket you have bought already. And so there's some information that we don't need to ask, but also we can address you via your name directly and be like, hi, Nico, let's build your agenda for this conference. So you don't ask the same question twice. Finally, for you at the end, as you're getting ready as an event organizer for the event, you can look at the insights we have regarding the profiles that have been selected and computed by your registrants. So like this, you have a better idea of who is coming to your event. Now that we looked at activating the attendees before the event, let's see how you can get them active during the actual event.
Cool. Thanks, Nico. So yeah, actually we are in the event or right before the event or right after the event, depending on what type of participation you are asking them to do. One of these participation or ways to make your audience participate is hosting an awards ceremony, right? And actually you can prepare all of that with Typeform, right? So you can gather the candidacies using Typeform. So why use Typeform for this kind of form? Again, you can get richer submissions. How? You can use video answers, video questions. You can collect files, you can collect images, and then of course, again, automate all these into any other tools that you want to use. So in this case, the example comes from, again, Zapier, the Zapier Awards. In their case, they were capturing videos, right, of the respondents that the respondents themselves created. All this was embedded into the application page, right, so that you could apply and nominate whoever you wanted to nominate to the awards. And all these demos were played live in their event, right? So all this was automated and they barely had to do any work manually. And actually, to explain more about this, we have Miranda.
Hi, I'm Miranda Borkert from the customer advocacy team at Zapier. This year, Zapier launched the first ever Zapier Awards, a customer award program created to spotlight folks who are using automation to reimagine the way we work. As part of the application, we wanted folks to have the option to submit a video demo of something they had created with Zapier. It was important for us, though, to offer a tool for them to be able to do this for two different reasons. One, accessibility. We know not everyone has access to these tools, and so we wanted it to be fair to everyone to be able to do that. And two, to increase the chances that someone would submit a video since that piece was optional. I solved this with Typeform's tool, Video Ask. Video Ask made it simple for me to embed a video response into our awards application. Folks simply had to hit the reply button within the application, and they had access to the tool instantly to screen share and record their video demo. These video demos were then included in our customer award show at our biggest event of the year, Zap Connect, as to show as inspiration to others looking to automate. They're also going to be used in our marketing and for us Zappians to learn more about the most impactful ways folks are using automation. I chose Typeform's Video Ask for this because it's very easy to use in the back end and the front end, and it's cost effective and really helped us streamline this process.
Nice. Thank you, Miranda. Actually, yeah, you can use Video Ask, and now you can also use video answers and video questions in Typeform, right? So here you can see one of our colleagues used the Typeform video questions and video answers to collect the nominations to the Typeforum award ceremony, right? Looking for the best Typeform of the year. And yeah, it's new features. Those of you who could attend the keynote, you could see that we are constantly shipping new video related features, so stay tuned for more. Then we also have this multi-question page, right? So Typeform is well known for the one question at a time approach, and we still believe that this is the best way to have a conversation with your audience, but sometimes some of the questions are very tight, very close together, right? And they should be better together, right? And for this, we are bringing this multi-question page to you. And last but not least, again, a good old friend of all of us using Typeform, file upload, many file types supported, one of them being images, right? So Typeform can collect any type of files or of media that you want to use for any awards that you may be hosting in your company. And having said this, now the event has finished and it's time to define how it went. And for that, what is key, Nico? Feedback, right?
Asking feedback. You have people that have attended the event. I'm sure they have a lot of opinion of things they like, things they didn't like. And here, Typeform is, again, the perfect tool for this. It keeps you on a branded experience. It's giving you a way to personalize the question workflow as well. So if people giving you a score between like 0 and 10, maybe whenever it's a lower score, you can ask specific follow-up question about this and be like, oh, why did you give us a low score? Or why do you like this in particular? With the new Clarify AI, it's even better. Finally, this is again an opportunity for you to branch out and give those leads, those warm leads, the people that really interacted with the event to your sales team so they can follow up and after this, probably, hopefully, close some deals. But let's hear it from our expert in the room, Diana. I'm sure after all the events you've run, you also have some great stories and best practices to share with us.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks, Nico. Hi, everyone. My name is Diana. I lead events at Superside, which includes webinars, virtual summits like today, roundtables, and other event programs. I've been doing this for 3 years. Actually, my work anniversary is tomorrow. So I've tested a lot, and I can thank you so much. I've tested a lot and I can share some insights. Hopefully that will help everyone watching. And just to give you a little bit of context, so our events are very targeted towards marketing and creative leaders and their teams who need design support. So that is what Superside is all about. Just to give you a little bit of a sneak peek into our results, we have really been able to scale. This year alone, we've generated over 3 million in lifetime value from our event programs. We generate about 1,000 registrants per webinar. Just to give you an industry average, it's about 250. So very proud of this number. Our virtual summits have brought in 10,000 plus registrants, with 22% being our ICP. So again, some really interesting stats there. And then thanks to Typeform, we also know our satisfaction engagement score. So attendees on average rate our events out of 4.8 out of 5, which is, there's always room for improvement. Cool. I think I want to get into really just 3 ways that we've been able to optimize our post-event surveying, really share with you the insights that we've gathered, and kind of give you a little bit of like a behind the scenes of some of these features and how they've been impactful for us. So first is the logic. If you use Typeform, chances are you probably have used the logic. This is super powerful for us because in a virtual summit environment where we have, again, very similar to today's event, where we have multiple sessions, chances are you're not going to have someone show up to all, 5, 6 of your sessions that you have planned, which is okay. I know it's a struggle, and I saw some people in the comments saying, yeah, it is a struggle to get people to come out and engage and attend live. So when we're gathering feedback, we really want to be asking people, did you attend? And if they say yes, then we ask, hey, how did you rate it? Or how would you rate the session? How can we improve? And this just allows them to, we don't waste their time. We get to quality, outputs and answers from people who actually attended the sessions. And again, it's a little bit of this dynamic surveying that makes contribution really quick, really, really easy. This also just, again, feeds us relevant information, and we're not asking everyone the same sets of questions if they had different event experiences. The next feature that we use, this is a little bit of an interesting one. So we connect with routing and mapping all of our surveys. And so this is basically a flow between our CRM platforms and Typeform, which pulls in all of the data, and our sales team can see all of the data in the tools that they work in. So they're not having to go between tools. Everything that everything that has been inputted in Typeform appears in the CRMs that they're in every single day, and they can access that information. So it really just increases data sharing, self-service, and the follow-ups that sales has. They're just more personalized based on what the event attendee shared about their experience, what kind of improvements we can make, and what they really loved. So this is super important. The other thing that this does is if we usually ask, like, as a last question, would you like to learn more about Superside? Would you like to have a demo? And so if they answer yes, that is also something that gets pulled into our CRM systems. And again, the bottom line is something that we are very proud to have an impact on. And then the last feature that I really want to emphasize, of course, we're a design company, so this is really nice to have for us, but just brand consistency. So all of our events at Superside have different branding. If you've ever seen our events, chances are you will recognize the event program based on the branding. But we translate this into post-event, so into surveying, into emails, all that sort of stuff. And so this really, again, plays into the event experience, but the brand consistency is something that research has shown attendees recall their experience a little bit better when they see branding. So again, it really helps us get accurate information and answers, because we're just using this design element here and really leaning into the branding of things. So really quickly as a summary, I think overall we've seen an impact by using Typeform in our post-event surveying. So again, we're keeping event attendees engaged and really cater questions to them. This allows them to give thoughtful feedback, and the information that we receive is actually useful. And then just enabling our sales team to do, better follow-ups and engage their targets a little bit better. That's, I think, all I had to share today. Happy to answer any questions that anyone has.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Diana. We showed you a lot of examples of things you can do with Typeform. I'm sure you might be doing something else already. So if you do using Typeform for events and another context, let us know. But just to give you other ideas of things you can do, I've seen it, I've used it to do speaker recruitment. So if you're running an event that has an open call for paper program, maybe that's a good thing to do, where you have a Typeform and you ask people what they want to talk about, who they are, what is the topic, what is the abstract. And then from this is where you're going to select your list of speakers. Does it going into a Google spreadsheet? Does it go into your Notion? And then you update who gets selected or what. But that thing, that's one way to use it. We have a way for you to get a QR code, which is a nice way to engage people live in situ in the event. So for them to scan, this could be just to leave feedback as they come, feedback after each session, or if they want to report something to the infringement of code of conduct, that could be another way as well. Also, you've seen it in hackathons. At the end of the hackathon, everybody gets to submit what they've built. And so this is a way for you to run the demos. And so this is where you ask information about each team, what they've built, which sponsor API they use, all these type of things. So hopefully that gives you an idea of all the things you could do using Typeform for your next event. We want to hear it from you as well, what you do. And I think now it's time for some Q&A for our wonderful speakers over here.
Cool.
Thanks.
So, Nico, I think that we have some questions already for. Yes, they are coming through.
Yeah, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, cool. So actually, Diana, I think that this might be a good question for you. So someone is asking, what tips or tricks do you have for adding the extra bit of razzle dazzle to virtual events? What have you had great feedback on from the audience?
Yeah, no, that's a really, really important question. I think we put a lot of emphasis in having the right tool. So for us, like design, branding, production capabilities, just like you guys have, in today's webinar or today's virtual event, I think it really is something that maybe is overlooked, like really this like production and having the event look really, really great is one thing that we focus on. I think the other thing is the quality of content. So we work with our experts to really bring good quality, valuable content onto the session and onto the stage. And one thing that we always ask them is, like, what is the different perspective that they can bring to whatever topic that we're talking about. So we've done a really good job when it comes to content and standing out in the content realm. Just like, what are you doing? What's something that like you've learned? And our audience really, really resonates with that and loves it. And then the last thing I would say is just like a cadence. I know it's something, maybe a simple answer, but kind of consistently showing up and giving the opportunity for your audience or whoever you're serving, your community, to engage with subject matter experts, to engage in good content. I would say those are the things that come to top of mind when thinking like, how are we, working to make sure our events stand out for Superside.
Nico, we not sure we can hear you.
It's me,
No.
sorry. How to manage speakers and mics. I think there was definitely a question about like which type of tools are you using to run an event like this with many sessions, many speakers, online event compared to in-person event? I'm sure you have some experience over there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So we use a tool called Zuddle, Zuddl. I know Goldcast is really good as well. StreamYard has studio capabilities that we've loved to use. Those are some tools that come top of mind. And again, I think it's like, you know, can they have your like your typography and your colors and you know, I think you guys have like scenes that you save. It's something that's like, wait, why is this important? And then you get into like the live production and you're like, oh yeah, okay, me pressing on something and then everything changing in like one click is actually helping and making the production smooth. So yeah, I think it's those are some of the tools that come top of mind, and I think just asking like, hey, I need this and can you serve me, is how we've been able to kind of narrow down who we work with.
Yeah, you want people to feel like home, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Paul, do you see other questions we can address?
Yeah, I think there's a question on once the person who signs up for the event selects the talks they are interested in, how are these then added to their calendar? So Nico, I think that you are the expert here, right?
All right, hackers, let's walk into this. We probably need to write a complete tutorial on that use case, but I give you the gist. So a Google Calendar in the end is just a link. So when you get an invite to Google Calendar, it's just a link, and in the link it contains everything about that event: when it starts, when it ends, the name of the session. And so if you hack that URL, and by hacking, it's a gentle hacking. We're not going to steal any private information, but by putting information and details in that URL, you're actually creating the events on the person's calendar. And so here, once you have defined those buckets, I'll be like, this is the first session, this is the second session, the third session that are great for them. Then you put that in the URL, and the end result is adding all the sessions into their calendar. There are different formats. Google Calendar has one, and then there's a generic format for all iCal calendar that could work. And so if you search, you can find for this, but probably something we should explain.
Yeah, actually, Nico, this reminds me of merging or using recall, right? The feature with the redirect to URL together with hidden fields, which are also known as URL parameters, is something super powerful. You can do so many things that are about personalization that, yeah, actually I wanted to ask to the audience if someone wants to share in the chat, like, have you used hidden fields, URL parameters, or something such as what Nico was
I have another suggestion, maybe using this end URL to get people engaged with the event. You want them to share on their network, right? That they're coming to your event. And so you can do a similar hack by doing a Twitter intent link or a LinkedIn post link. So when they click on this, you're already pre-filling their post for LinkedIn or Twitter. So you made the job for them, kind of. I don't know, Dinah, if that's something you've used in the past. I see you nodding.
Yeah, so again, one of the things that we when we were looking at tools is like integrations, and like, can we integrate very easily so that it's like a one sign up through our forms. The tool that we use also has calendar blocks automatically added. And again, these are the things that, like, when you're fearing of people not showing up, I think it's like, how can you make it the easiest possible for them to join, and for them to like join without any blockers or barriers. So yeah, there's a couple of tools for sure for event marketing specifically that have some of these things that you're talking about totally built in. And it's, yeah, all about asking for these things when you're searching. But definitely very important. Very, very important.
Yes. All right. Do we see any other question that came up?
Yeah, I think in the chat, Heidi, is asking about a little bit more detail about what you were explaining, Nico, on how to turn the URL to an event calendar invite rather than a landing page with the meeting information.
I do feel it needs a proper tutorial video community post. So we'll definitely follow up with this in more detail.
Yeah. Actually, as I mentioned at the very beginning, there will be a community post with any unanswered question. And actually, maybe it's a nice opportunity to share more about your secrets, Nico, on how you're making all this magic happen.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome. So I think this is it for our session. The program is not over. This is when we are joining back the different tracks we had. Thanks again, Diana, for joining us. If people want to connect with you, where should they find you? Where they can find you?
Absolutely. Yes, please connect. Drop me a little note to say that you saw my presentation here at Typeforum. But yeah, feel free to scan that QR code, connect. I'm happy to answer any questions and share some more insights into events. And big shout out to the Typeform team. This has been super great. So yeah, very awesome event, great work. And yeah, keep it up. Events are definitely a hot topic, and we've seen a lot of success in our industry and with our audience. So definitely keep going, and they're a lot of work, but very rewarding. So let's connect, and happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks again for joining us, Diana. That was awesome. So as I say, the program is not over. The 2 tracks now are joining to 1, so it's going to be easier for you to decide where you're going next. We have an awesome panel with actually, Paul, you mentioned this. This is like the resources that we're going to have, the guide that we're going to send, the community, and then our upcoming event, the beginning of December, where we're going to tune up some of your Typeform. So if you feel you need some help with your Typeform, send it to us, and we get some experts looking at this. That will just do a little tune on top of it. But what's coming next? We have a roundtable with our partners. You're going to hear from Webflow, Klaviyo, and other partners that are building awesome stuff in the Typeform ecosystem. So it's about to start in 5 minutes. Go grab a coffee, take a break, and we'll see you over there. Thanks again for joining us. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.